Welcome to the Fantasy Football Clown Show. I'm Ed, along with Justin and Brad. We're breaking down the Division B of the Elite Eight, and we're going to start with Brad for draft position 1 and 2. So take it away, Brad.
All right. Basically, for the first pick in this draft, Mucho had it, and he definitely went with a win now from the one spot, which I feel like I haven't seen much in this league. He went older with most of his positions, running backs. He went Eckler, Cook, Kamara. Receivers, he went Allen, Devonta Smith, Tyler Boyd, Thielen, stuff like that. Um, and then his quarterbacks, he had the number one pick, so he went Allen, but he also has Rodgers and then Geno. But he's got guys like Hopkins on the bench for when he comes back, and I think he'll make a pretty good push for a postseason run right off the bat. Um, and he also has 223 first plus all his picks, so I think honestly he could make some noise here in the next year or two. And then the two pick was 808 Ryden, and um, he's in a win now build too. Actually, he doesn't have any 23 first or second picks. He's deeper receiver, young receivers. Tyreek's kind of older, but he's got AJ Brown, DJ Moore, Chris Godwin, Kadarius Toney. He's definitely deep there. His tight ends are his weakest spot for sure with Ertz and Conklin, but um, he'll make a run, and he's definitely like I can see what he's doing with his roster for sure.
Very, very good. So jumping into the 3 spot, C Jet. This team is going to rely on the 2 quarterbacks, doing real well with Pat Mahomes and Jameis Winston leading the way. However, as you'll see, 2 quarterbacks a lot of times isn't enough because you all of a sudden don't have anybody for those 2 bye weeks, even if everybody stays healthy. So it's going to really rely on a young receiving core of Chase, Lamb, and Amon-Ra. So good young receiving core that can build around in future years, here as well. So there is a little bit of fluidness to it. The tight end room with Irv Smith and George Kittle is solid for a top 2, but again, bringing some pieces in. Now, to acquire those players, though, the team did move his 23 first and second. So when you start trading away the future assets, all of a sudden, you're not able to rebuild. So there's a possibility that if the injury bug does bite, that some of those young pieces will have to be moved to get some replenishment of the capital just to make this team competitive downstream. So, we'll see how this goes throughout the course of the year and to see if it can nudge its way into the top 6 teams in this division. Catch and Skin was pick 4, and this team is really a good balanced starting lineup. However, once you get past Baker and Cousins at the quarterback, the reliance on Jimmy G to be that third option with no starting gig is really relying upon a couple things happening. It has to be an injury to somebody and then a trade, or it had to be an injury to Lance to really even cover the bye weeks and make 2 zeros go away for a 35 or 40 point quarterback scoring situation. Chubb has age against him. However, Brees Hall is really young, so it does have Carter and Hunt as well at the running back position. So really a good mix of young and old, I guess, or veteran kinds of players. And then also Mike Davis and James Robinson can help at different periods of the year. So the running back room actually is fluid and probably can piece its way to where it's trying to go. With Pitts and Schultz, the tight end room is going to beat most. However, again, if there's some injuries, all of a sudden there's going to be, trouble on the horizon. And this team does have Cooper Kupp at receiver, which is going to really bolster that lineup a good bit. However, Cooper Kupp is on the back nine of the career. So again, it's going to have to be a fluid thing. Like if you don't start winning, then you're going to have to really move these pieces to stay young and stay fluid. Justin's going to jump in with teams 5 and 6.
With the Team 5, OG Boogie Dig was able to grab three starting quarterbacks with Burrow, Carr, and Brissett, but that's only for this year. Next year, he's going to have to find that third quarterback to help rotate in there for bye weeks. He was able to put together a solid starting lineup with CMC, Mixon, Zeke, with the handcuff Tony Pollard at running back, Jerry Judy, Hollywood Brown, Juju at wide receiver, but not much of a bench after that. But interested to see what he's going to be able to do. Lake's Coffee at pick 6 also was able to draft three starting quarterbacks: Murray, Matt Ryan, and Marcus Mariota. But with Marcus Mariota's backup rookie in the wind, he's going to have to see if he can hold on to that position, that starting job there. I do like the youth that is running back with Swift, Dobbins, Damian Harris, Kenneth Gainwell. Depth of wide receiver and tight end should help make a decent run at that 3K winner pot. This team is built for now to win.
Steelers Nation had the 7th spot, and this team has some real stars behind it. But if they don't stay healthy, the chance of rebuilding is a really real possibility. Lamar and Tannehill are the quarterbacks, but after that, it's pretty thin. Najee, playoff Lenny, Singletary, Melvin at running back, but 4 with a couple aging guys and people that are phasing out of the offense in their respective offenses could turn this into a rebuild real quick. Devontae Adams, Diggs, and Cooks all have age on, running against them, even though there is some stars there. And then Mooney, a young target monster, but in one of the worst offenses in the NFL, really make this team. Those starters are, while good, and then if you couple in Hunter Henry and Goddard at tight end, those again are decent players, compared to the rest of the league. But injuries could make this thing go right off the rails real quick. And I think if I were to project, I would say that this team will probably finish bottom 6 just because, there's just too many variables to working its way through all of those buys. I mean, there's 12 players worth of buys that we just talked about. And so that means there's 12 zeros that we're going to have to feed in places, without injuries. And the chance of keeping it healthy is pretty slim, I think. Sportsbag MD was the number 8 pick, and this team is built to win. It starts with Stafford, Russ, and Goff at quarterback. So all 3 different bye weeks, 3 quarterbacks can withstand an injury to the quarterback position. It has Saquon, Akers, and then maybe some lesser running backs, but people that can fill in with Rojo and Eno Benjamin. The receivers are solid with Evans, A-Rob, Ayuk, Michael Thomas. So again, guys that, while if any 2 or 3 of those guys are playing at any time, you can always fade somebody else in there and pick up points. The tight end room is probably the best in the division with Andrews and Kelsey. I mean, that's top 2 tight ends on one team. So can afford to be a little bit lower on maybe some of those receivers at different times or putting a Rojo in at running back. Alberto is behind it, and Gibson, can also play roles here to fill out the flexes and keep the team, moving forward. So even though, the teams before this, couldn't withstand injuries, I think this team is actually built to withstand some injuries and get through those bye weeks, which is sometimes challenging. Brad's going to pick up teams 9 and 10.
All right. Yep. Team 9 was actually JDM in this league. So I would say he went for a rebuild team. It looks like he went in the draft to go after more picks than studs. So he's banking a lot on these rookies kind of going off and taking off. It looks like he got a couple first-round picks, getting Traylon Burks, Drake London, Kenneth Walker, Chris Olave. So he definitely is looking to look to the future. He went young at quarterback. He got Tua and Mac Jones and Davis Mills to be his third. So I think he'll be just fine there for a little bit, especially if Davis Mills turns into a QB to build around. His tight end room is a little shallow, but with the team you have, you'll be able to trade something to get something going there and probably pick up a tight end room pretty quick. Like, I think it'll be fine. The 10 pick was Michael, and he's also a rebuild team. He has a couple 23 first round picks, a couple 23 second round picks. He's shallow at QB, I would say. He went with Hurts, Wentz, and Trubisky. So I could see two of them not having jobs next year. Stuff like that. His running backs are Dameon Pierce, Travis Etienne, and AJ Dillon. But then he's also got a sneaky Derrick Henry on his bench, probably waiting to get rid of. So I think he's setting himself up for the future, in my opinion.
And Justin's going to jump in with pick 11 and pick 12.
Excellent. Yes. Ayo had the pick 11. He's definitely built his team for now with some really young position with some really young players at every position. Lance Pickett, Danny Dimes. You also have Watson there, quarterback. Javonte Williams, Tyler Algier, Julius Chestnut, the running back, which that his running back depth is pretty shallow there, though. Rashawn Bateman, Elijah Moore, Wandell Robinson, and David Bella, wide receiver. And his tight ends, Cole Kmet, Daniel Bellinger, and Trey McBride at rounding out the tight end spots there. He also has 3 first-round picks and 2 second-round picks in 2023. The only downside of this team, I really think, is he drafted Calvin Ridley, and I really don't think he's going to play ever again in this league. With pick 12, see Balls as 5 quarterbacks on this team. Lawrence, Fields, and of course every quarterback from the Jets, Wilson, White, and Flacco. Should get a lot from his tight end core here with Pat Freiermuth, TJ Hawkinson, Harrison Bryant, Jake Ferguson, and Cole Turner. With his wide receivers are actually pretty good with Justin Jefferson, Gabe Davis, Hunter Renfrow, Dotson, Pickens, and Michael Gallup. With his running backs, David Montgomery, Ramondre Stevenson, Jamal Williams, and James Cook. If he can make a few trades and get another starting running back without giving up too much, he could be really interesting to watch.
Very good. So that is Division B in the Elite Eight. Again, for Justin, Brad, I'm Ed, the Fantasy Football Clown Show. Hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, and we'll come back at you on Wednesday morning with our selections on who's going to make the final 16. So long for now.